Welcome back to the deep dive. This week we are sifting through a whole stack of Azure updates.
A pretty dense stack.
Yeah, spanning December 9th through the 16th, 2025. And this isn't just about reading release notes, right?
Not at all. It's about understanding the architectural pivots, the strategic deadlines that really demand your attention.
Especially if you're running enterprise or highly regulated workloads.
Right.
Our mission here is to move past the simple announcement bullet points and deliver a deep, focused breakdown, really distilling the strategic significance of these changes for your critical infrastructure planning.
Exactly. The why and the so what.
Because we're technical people. That's what we care about.
Exactly. And this deep dive, it touches on 6 key announcements that I think really reveal Azure's current focus. We're seeing themes of increasing resilience, tightening compliance, and strategically managing some foundational networking retirements.
Okay, so what services are we covering?
We'll be hitting updates to Azure NetApp Files and storage, Application Gateway, and VNet in networking, some compute dependencies, and then a really fascinating structural change for Azure Sphere and IoT.
And something for Databricks, I see.
And a powerful workflow integration for Databricks.
Yep. Okay, let's jump right into the data plane then, starting with resilience and security for high-performance storage. Azure NetApp Files, ANF, is central to so many enterprise deployments. We have 2 major steps forward here. The first one being the general availability of ANF cross-zone region replication.
Right, CZRR.
CZR.
And what's really new about CZRR isn't just that it exists, it's that it formalizes the combination of 2 critical redundancy strategies.
What do you mean by that?
Well, previously, as an architect, you had to choose or, manage them separately. It was either cross-region replication for that distant disaster recovery or cross-zone replication for high availability inside the same metro area.
So if I was setting up a really complex DR plan, say I needed data replication from US East to US West, but I also wanted...
You also wanted that guaranteed high availability within the US West region itself.
Right. I'd previously be relying on a combination of different tools or maybe some custom failover scripts.
Precisely. And that could get messy. CZRR enables a single native solution to replicate volumes across a region and ensure the destination data is redundantly spread across multiple availability zones within that target region.
I can see how that would be a massive simplification.
It is, especially for customers facing really stringent geopolitical requirements, maybe in Europe, who need both that distance replication and in-country zone HA. It's a huge simplification in the DR playbook.
It moves that complex multi-layered recovery from custom scripting to just a standardized built-in feature set.
Exactly.
That makes the governance aspect much cleaner.
Yeah.
I definitely see the resilience benefit, but is this CZRR capability truly a game changer, or is this just Azure catching up to what some third-party tools have offered for years?
I think it's a game changer, and here's why. It's the integration. ANF operates deep in the kernel. It's designed for performance. By making this native, you bypass all the performance overhead and the integration complexity that so often comes with stacking external DR solutions onto high-throughput storage.
So you're leveraging the platform's native efficiency.
For these complex failover scenarios, exactly.
Okay, moving from resilience to threat detection. We also saw the public preview for Azure NetApp Files Advanced Ransomware Protection, or ANF ARP.
Yes. And this is critical. Security is paramount for ANF volumes, given the kind of high-value data they often hold.
So what's the mechanism here?
ANF ARP is designed to proactively detect, respond to, and recover from ransomware threats right at the storage level. It's constantly monitoring.
And it's crucial to understand how it's monitoring, right?
Absolutely. It's looking for suspicious I/O behavior. Things like high rates of metadata changes, rapid encryption patterns, or abrupt changes in the frequency of immutable snapshotting.
So it's not just scanning files, it's tracking the behavior of the application that's accessing the files.
That's the key.
Which is so essential because ANF's high throughput could easily hide a large-scale data encryption event. An external agent might miss that until it's far too late.
That's the key technical anchor. Having this detection integrated natively into the high-speed storage fabric is just so much more efficient and responsive than, say, relying on an endpoint agent trying to monitor volume activity from the outside.
You're securing the data layer itself.
Which is where ransomware ultimately strikes.
That brings us perfectly to the critical compliance layer. We saw the general availability launch of FIPS compliant mode for Application Gateway V2 SKUs. For any organization dealing with U.S. government contracts or defense workloads, FIPS 142 compliance it's a mandatory prerequisite.
It is. And FIPS 142, the Federal Information Processing Standard, it defines these minimum security requirements.
Right.
The crucial difference here isn't just about using standard SSL TLS.
Right. It's deeper than that.
It's much deeper. FIPS 142 specifically verifies that the cryptographic modules themselves, the hardware, the software components doing the encryption, are rigorously validated and certified by a government body.
So enabling this mode on Application Gateway V2 means that your security perimeter for web traffic is now using cryptography that has been certified to meet these incredibly strict, often cumbersome federal standards.
Exactly. And for regulated industries, this GA announcement is an enormous simplification. I mean, previously, if you needed FIPS compliance, you often had to use these complex workarounds.
Or third-party gateways outside Azure.
Right, just to manage the perimeter. Now you can deploy the native Application Gateway V2 and simply tick that FIPS box. It drastically lowers the compliance barrier for U.S. federal, defense, and highly regulated financial customers.
We've established the security perimeter with FIPS and hardened the data plane with ANF. But what about the foundation underneath it all?
Ah, yes.
Let's pivot now to what might be the biggest operational headache of the week: the critical deadline change for default outbound network access.
This affects every architect and networking specialist using Azure Virtual Networks and Compute. It's a big one. Azure has confirmed that the retirement date for default outbound access for resources created in a VNet has been extended.
Okay, what's the new date we need to lock into our planning cycles? And, how much relief does this actually offer people?
The previously communicated deadline was September 30th, 2025.
Okay.
That date is now gone. The new hard retirement date is March 31st, 2026.
So a 6-month buffer.
A significant 6-month buffer. And this extension aligns with broader updates to the Azure Virtual Network Platform, so it makes sense. It's giving large organizations more time.
Okay, the extension is 6 months, which is substantial for a big migration. But doesn't this extension actually encourage procrastination? Allowing organizations to maintain a lazy security posture for half a year longer.
It's a calculated risk, that's a fair point. But I see it more as a necessary tactical gift for those large-scale enterprise deployments. Well, Azure is fundamentally shifting towards a zero-trust networking model. All outbound traffic must be explicitly defined. That is great for security, but
auditing and rewriting firewall rules and deployment templates across thousands of existing VMs is a monumental task.
It's a huge lift. This extension gives technical teams the necessary breathing room to fully audit their existing deployments and integrate explicit outbound configuration like using network security groups, UDRs, or managed NAT gateways into their DevOps pipelines.
So the core technical implication doesn't change. After March 31st, 2026, newly created resources that haven't been configured with an explicit outbound path.
They will experience unexpected service outages.
Because they just can't reach the outside world.
Exactly. That's the operational risk of non-compliance. It's not just a security best practice anymore. It's going to be an operational necessity. Teams really need to treat this extra 6 months as critical lead time to test these new restrictive environments before the hammer drops on new resource provisioning.
Okay, that clarity on the date change is invaluable. Now let's transition to specialized services, starting with analytics and workflow integration. We saw a public preview for Azure Databricks Dashboard subscriptions supporting Microsoft Teams.
Yes! This is a classic efficiency move. It just cuts through so much organizational friction.
It makes sense. In the modern data pipeline, teams often live in collaboration tools like Teams.
But the valuable, actionable data resides in external platforms like Databricks.
And we've all been in that cycle. You get an urgent email, you click the dashboard link, you wait for it to load.
And you realize the data is 12 hours old or you need a separate login.
Right. This addresses that immediate friction.
Exactly. The real benefit here is eliminating context switching. Data scientists and analysts want their consumers to act on insights immediately. By supporting Teams integration, you can now set up a subscription where fully refreshed, critical dashboard views are automatically delivered right into a designated Teams channel.
So it streamlines the analytics consumption lifecycle.
It drastically reduces the time between insight generation and decision-making for any org heavily invested in the Microsoft collaboration stack.
Finally, let's talk about IoT infrastructure with Azure Sphere. Now, this announcement is perhaps the most strategic because it involves a major OS release.
Version 25.1.
Version 25.12, which is generally available for evaluation, Yet the release notes explicitly state there are no customer-facing changes.
Yeah. That is a highly unusual disclaimer for a major OS release. If there are no new features, then what is the technical importance of 25.1? Why does it need a release and an extended evaluation period?
And this is where it gets really interesting. It has to signal significant foundational under-the-hood build system changes. When a platform like Azure Sphere, which underpins device security and continuous software updates for years, modifies its very foundation, it impacts every future dependency, every compiler path, even security certifications.
You can speculate that Azure is preparing for several major future shifts. This build system overhaul could be necessary to simplify future regulatory certifications
Or maybe to integrate support for new generations of secure silicon platforms that require different compilation strategies.
that's a strong possibility. Or even to move toward containerization of some IoT services. We don't know for sure, but the signs are there.
So the purpose of this extended evaluation period in the retail evil feed isn't about testing shiny new features.
Not at all.
It's about confirming the ironclad stability of the underlying machinery that guarantees the platform's security integrity for, the next half-decade.
Precisely. They are verifying the foundational nature of these internal changes to ensure zero regressions before it mounts to the standard retail feed. It's a confirmation that Azure is investing heavily in the long-term, non-functional stability of the Azure Sphere platform itself.
Paving the way for future releases on a newly fortified base.
It's an infrastructure maturity signal, plain and simple.
If we connect this back to the bigger picture of this week's updates, you can see that infrastructure maturity thread running through everything.
You really can.
Regulatory compliance with FIPS, deep architectural resilience with ANF CZRR, enforcing better security hygiene with the VNet deadline.
And fortifying the platform foundation for IoT with Sphere's internal changes. These aren't flashy user features. They're crucial architectural and compliance-driven updates that directly affect the operational risk and strategic planning of every technical team listening right now.
These are the details system architects, networking specialists, and security officers really need to prioritize.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for the listener who's wrapping up their planning and looking ahead to Q1?
I'd say you need to confirm that March 31st, 2026 VNet date is deeply embedded into your migration schedule. That's non-negotiable operational housekeeping.
Right.
And for those of you dealing with high-performance files, definitely explore ANF CZRR as a native solution to simplify your most complex disaster recovery topologies.
We'll leave you with one final thought to explore on your own then. Given that the Azure Sphere OS 25.12 update focuses entirely on significant under-the-hood build system changes and mandates an extended evaluation period despite having no customer-facing features,
Right.
what fundamental platform dependencies or infrastructure goals might this foundational overhaul be preparing the entire IoT ecosystem for in 2026? Think beyond today's devices and consider the regulatory or industrial implications.
Those internal changes often precede major shifts in capability or scale. It raises a really important question about Azure Sphere's future trajectory in secure device management.
Review these implications carefully, map them against your current infrastructure strategies, and we look forward to diving deeper next time.